I'm Juliet Newell with a roundup of this week's BRICS Plus news. We start with the headlines. Egypt and Iran hold talks focusing on the need for regional calm. Entrepreneurial Ethiopians turn scrap into cash. It's a no for daylight saving in Brazil, says government. And digital technology and art collide, a beautiful exhibition in China. We begin in the Middle East, where Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Arachni has held talks with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, focusing on the need for regional calm as tensions escalate. This marks the first visit by an Iranian foreign minister to Egypt since 2013 and comes after an Iranian missile barrage targeting Israel on October the 1st. Well, both leaders agreed on the importance of halting regional conflicts and intensifying ceasefire efforts in Gaza and Lebanon. They've also stressed the need to assist displaced individuals and prevent further Israeli military actions. This meeting reflects a gradual warming of relations between Iran and Egypt, particularly in the light of the ongoing Gaza war, which has also affected Lebanon due to Iranian support for Hezbollah. Arachni's diplomatic tour aimed at mitigating regional tensions has included visits to several countries. China and Russia have pledged to enhance military cooperation as their defense ministers met in Beijing on Monday. This partnership strengthened since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, causing concern in the West. Well, both nations declared a no-limits alliance just before the invasion and have conducted several joint military drills since then. Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun emphasized the importance of deepening strategic collaboration and advancing military relations, noting ties between President Xi Jinping and President Vladimir Putin are at an all-time high. Russian counterpart Andrei Belousov echoed this sentiment, highlighting the role of their friendly relations in bolstering strategic ties and maintaining global stability. While China positions itself as neutral in the Ukraine conflict, it remains a close ally of Russia. President Xi is expected to meet Putin again at the upcoming BRICS Plus summit in Russia next week. The Brazilian government's decided not to reinstate daylight saving time this summer, as there are no expected risks to the power sector, according to the Energy and Mining Minister, Alexandre Silveira. While approvals for a potential return had been granted in September, driven by concerns over a significant drought affecting power generation, Silveira noted that current measures to enhance hydroelectric reservoirs responsible for over half of the country's electricity have sufficiently mitigated supply risks. Officials will reconsider the possibility of daylight saving time for next year after the Southern Hemisphere summer. The initiative was previously abolished in 2019 by former President Jair Bolsonaro, who argued it was no longer advantageous for the power sector. The decision reflects the government's ongoing assessment of energy needs and conditions in Brazil. Egypt's Grand Egyptian Museum, located near the Giza pyramids, has partially opened its main galleries, showcasing 12 halls dedicated to ancient Egyptian history. Well, this much-anticipated project, which has faced numerous delays, including setbacks from the COVID-19 pandemic, has exceeded $1 billion in costs and will welcome 4,000 visitors for a trial run ahead of its official opening. The museum, set to be the largest archaeological museum globally, and it will display over 100,000 artifacts, with each hall featuring at least 15,000 items classified by historical periods. Key eras on display will include the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom and Greco-Roman period, showcasing the lives of royalty and high-ranking officials. Well, the site has been partially accessible since late 2022 to test visitor experiences. Future openings will include the renowned Tutankhamun treasure collection, while advanced technology will be used in exhibits, while multimedia presentations and virtual reality features as well. And finally, with the ongoing evolution of digital technology, a fresh ecosystem of art galleries and museums is emerging. CGTN's Liu Yang explores the art museum Chengdu in southwest China's Sichuan province.
Waterfalls, romantic thunders, beach, stars, forests and flowers. All of these will be presented through digital media technology in the RT Museum Chengdu behind me. Visitors will get a chance to immerse themselves through some extremely shocking visuals and sound effects. Follow me and let's enjoy the show. Thousands of tons of water pouring down. This giant digital artwork crosses the boundary between reality and the virtual world, allowing people to let loose their imagination. Here, immersive waves symbolize the challenges and innovations of digitalization. Yes, this is a sea of flowers. The cosmos swings in the wind, heralding the birth of new life. In the peace and the quiet, you can hear the sound of your own breath. Right here, the vast paper artwork showcases the sky. It's as if you're standing among the stars and can peer into the future. The stunning artwork is created by the world-renowned digital design company District. The series Eternal Nature involves the company designing immersive digital artworks by combining natural and cultural heritage from different exhibiting regions from around the world. This part of the exhibition is called Colorful China. It integrates traditional Chinese culture through digital art, from Chinese bamboo forests to beautiful Chinese poems like this. It's just like walking through a world of changing light and shadows. The series Eternal Nature has been exhibited in 8 venues in major cities across the world, bringing a unique experience to more than 7 million people so far. Liu Yang, CGTN, Sichuan Province.
Coming up, BRICS Plus Business News.
Well, here we have it. Time to turn things around. You caught the taxi and watched the money drain out of your account. Now we're going to pay you if you are lucky enough to catch our taxi. Small problem. You've got to know a few things about BRICS. No, not the stuff you build your house with. Welcome to the BRICS on Wheels show.
Coming soon on BRICS Global Television.
What was your moment in prison when you were like, I don't want to do this anymore?
I was 21 years old when I took my first life in prison. I had 1 star on my shoulder. By the age of 25, I became the first star general of the 28s, meaning that I had 4 stars on both my shoulders. I had taken 8 people's lives.
China and the EU have been holding a series of talks with the main focus on conflict over China's industrial subsidies, which the EU claims harms European competitors. The EU plans to impose up to 35.3% tariffs on Chinese electric cars and increase tariffs on solar panels, raising concerns about potential self-sabotage. Former Greek finance minister and renowned economist Yanis Varoufakis weighs in.
I have to declare that I'm aghast at the collective idiocy of the European Union Commission, which is simply doing as Washington is telling them, slapping, for instance, huge tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and solar panels, for goodness sake. I mean, Europe is not producing its own solar panels. We need solar panels for our green transition. And we have the European Union Commission, which, because it is being ordered by Washington, D.C. to slap tariffs on solar panels coming from China, is following suit. Effectively, Europe is shooting itself in the foot on command from the United States of America. So that's something else you should be worried about. Given that the greatest lack, weakness, dearth in Europe is investment. There is not a single European country I know that doesn't need investment and wants Chinese investment. So go to European countries like Spain, for instance, you mentioned Spain before, and offer to build BYD cars there, or CATL battery, advanced batteries that Spain is not producing, Germany is not producing. There will be a backlash from Washington. Washington will go to Brussels and say, don't let the Chinese come in here and invest. Because you have to remember, in Brussels there are two international, transnational organizations. There is the European Union Commission and there is NATO, both in Brussels, next to one another. NATO had faded. The war in Ukraine has given it a new lease of life. And essentially, NATO has been making decisions that have been undermining and overbearing vis-à-vis the European Union. Ursula von der Leyen is the apotheosis of this takeover of the European Union by NATO. Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the Commission, even though she's German, she's working for the United States. She is a plant by the United States of America. I'm using a very harsh term, but let's be honest with one another. She's there on instructions of the United States. You can say that because the European Union has always been based on the Franco-German axis, on the axis between Germany and France. This axis, this nexus between France and Germany were always the skeleton on which the rest of the European Union was hanging. And yet, neither President Macron of France nor Chancellor Scholz of Germany were in favor of this rabid anti-Chinese line. This was purely the United States. And the United States has been pushing this anti-Chinese line initially through Eastern European countries that used to be part of the Soviet Empire and which are very anti-Russian and have always been closer to Washington than Brussels, even though they were members of the European Union. Countries like Poland, the Baltic states like Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, the Czech Republic. Brussels now has been subsumed into NATO as a result of the Ukrainian war. The Chancellor of Germany, Mr. Scholz, he was here recently trying to create a good working relationship with the Chinese, but not being led to do this by Brussels, by the European Commission, which is a complete no-brainer why it's happening. You have to see what's happening with electric vehicles. Because electric vehicles are the future, we know that. It is clear that they are the future. And it is a future which is highly problematic for Europe. Why? That's going many years before the Ukraine war, mishandled the Euro crisis. We ended up with 15 years of no investment. Take the German car industry, which was the dominant industry worldwide. It skipped an industrial revolution. Because going from the petrol or the diesel engine car to the electric vehicle, it's a bit like going from typewriters to personal computers. Being good at one thing doesn't mean you will be good at the other thing. Similarly, that's how harsh the distinction between conventional cars, traditional cars, and electric vehicles is. And Germany never made the investment into electric vehicles. They are producing a lot of them now, but most of that uses Chinese technology. So take Volkswagen, for instance. Does Volkswagen want these huge tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles? Our media say that they do, because that's how they protect themselves from Chinese competition. It's not true. I've spoken to people of Volkswagen. They have a shortage of engineers. They want their engineers to be trained in China. They are they are employing thousands of engineers here in China in order to improve their capacity to produce electric vehicles in Germany. They do not want, the people in Volkswagen do not want a trade war with China. If China reciprocates the tariffs against Chinese companies with tariffs on Mercedes-Benz is going to have a serious problem because of it will be losing a large chunk of its Chinese market. So the German Chancellor does not want these tariffs on electric vehicles. The Spanish government doesn't want it. The French government is neither here nor there. And yet the European Commission is pushing this line because it is in the pockets of the United States. This is a tragedy we have, and I say this with a great deal of pain in my heart as a European. This is a tragedy of Europe, that we are no longer in control of the policies that should be serving European interests. Europe is shooting itself in the foot.
In China, the 26th Mining Conference and exhibitions taking place in Tianjin this week, aiming to foster international mining collaboration for mutual benefits and win-win results. What new trends in the global mining industry are being highlighted? Well, CGTN's Yang Shanshan filed this report.
After years of development, the China Mining Conference and Exhibition has developed into a platform for global mining industry for investment, dialogue, and seeking business opportunities. Nearly 400 domestic and international exhibitors from over 30 countries and regions are participating in this year's Mining Conference and Exhibition. This year, the conference theme is promoting mining cooperation for a better future. Over 23 forums and 12 dedicated product and brand promotion sessions will be held.
To tackle its global challenges, China promised to achieve its carbon peak in 2030 and carbon neutrality in 2060, reducing its traditional demand in fossil fuels and upgrading to become a more sustainable and green economy. How will this affect the global mining industry?
According to some studies, the total demand for bronze, lithium, nickel, and cobalt, which are key to the new energy industry, will quadruple in the next 2 decades. This brings new opportunities to the global mining industry. Reports on China's mineral resources and development of the global mining industry were issued on Monday. They state that the future strategies of leading enterprises should include ESG standards. They also suggest that artificial intelligence, big data, satellite and remote sensing, and IoT technology could be applied into the mining industry to conserve resources and achieve sustainability. Yang Shanshan, CGTN, Tianjin.
In Germany, the 8th Sino-German Automotive Conference began in Munich, providing a platform to discuss global automotive trends as well as foster technological partnerships. However, concerns are mounting among German manufacturers due to the European Commission's new 35% tariffs on imported electric vehicles from China. CGTN's Natalie Carney has more.
The theme of this Congress is carbon neutrality and mobility of the future. However, conversations have been steering towards the potential impact of the European Commission's decision to slap duties of up to 35% on imported Chinese-made electric vehicles. Having invested billions of dollars in China, German automotive manufacturers and suppliers have been apprehensive about these tariffs. In his push to get the German government to vote against them, BMW CEO Oliver Zipse said the tariffs, quote, catalyze retaliatory response from China, thereby deepening the rift. That concern has been echoed by many taking part here.
Germany has so much business in China for the last decades, and now China is moving forward, becoming technology leader in many fields, and the main message or takeaway is always cooperation instead of confrontation. That is relatively clear. You can see nobody likes the tariffs.
And the sad story for both sides. I don't believe it's only for China. It's also in the European consumer cannot get a cheaper car. Of course, I also see the German automotive industry also against this activities.
Especially as Germans, the tariffs could kill our automotive industry. In some cases, under some circumstances, tariffs are reasonable if you have a really weak economy and need to protect the internal market from too much influence from outside. But it is not the case in Germany.
In line with the theme of this Congress, discussions have also touched on how Chinese EVs can help the European Union achieve its green goals, transitioning away from internal combustion engines by 2035. And that's a major force driving cooperation, regardless of what comes next from the ongoing trade dispute. Natalie Carney, CGTN, Munich.
Meanwhile, the 2024 World Intelligent Connected Vehicles Conference taking place in Beijing. The event focuses on global collaboration for next-generation technology. Industry experts recognize China's leadership in smart car development, aiming for a standardized system by 2026 to foster an innovative global market for intelligent connected vehicles. CGTN's Shi Shuang reports.
Cars that can park themselves, respond to voice commands, communicate with traffic signals, and navigate complex city streets autonomously are quickly becoming reality.
At this annual exhibition, you can get a glimpse of the future of intelligent vehicles. They come with multi-screen interfaces and can communicate not just with other cars, but also with infrastructures and even pedestrians. They can also be integrated with smart home devices like your air conditioner and washing machine.
China is fully on board in redefining the future of mobility and transportation. The country's pilot program aimed at putting smart connected vehicles on the road was highlighted at the conference.
The integration of intelligence and connectivity has become a key technical route. China is actively piloting vehicle road cloud integration, and 20 pilot cities have organized large-scale construction projects and application initiatives.
Researchers project that by 2025, 3 out of every 4 newly manufactured cars in China will be intelligent connected vehicles.
China has quite an advantage, quite a competitive advantage, because you guys are at the forefront of technological research and development.
Global car makers and industry experts spoke about the importance of collaboration in shaping the future of intelligent vehicles.
The challenges, if you want, are not really in terms of technology or market adoption or consumer. It is mainly legal, and it is mainly the lack of harmonization or coordination. So basically, if all the stakeholders, government, private sector, consumers come together around one table, at a global level, then we'll be able to come up with some harmonized approach, and this will allow the industry to develop even further.
With companies and governments collaborating to address challenges in data sharing and regulatory alignment, the future of driving may arrive sooner than we think. Li Shuang, CGTN, Beijing.
Egypt's awarded 5G mobile network licenses to its 4 major telecom operators for a total of $675 million earlier this month. 3 private providers joined the state-owned Egyptian telecommunications company, which received its license earlier this year. CGTN's Adel Al-Marouki reports.
It is the biggest telecom deal yet in Egypt. The state offered 3 5G licenses for a total of $675 million. The agreement, signed by all the private-owned operators and the National Telecom Regulatory Authority, extends for 15 years. Besides 5G bandwidth, the deal also includes renewal for 4G and 3G services.
This will increase the competitiveness among service providers. It will also help the state's plan for digital transformation. The activation of 5G will complement our plans for building new smart cities. The Communications Ministry is also working on introducing eSIMs within the next few months. This service will replace regular SIMs. We have about 106 million regular SIM cards in Egypt.
According to the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, the 5G service is expected to be launched by the first quarter of 2025. The latest telecom service will first be rolled out in major Egyptian cities, while a full service coverage is expected to be completed across the country within 3 years of the launch.
The 5G network has three main pillars. The first pillar is to provide enhanced mobile broadband, which is increased bandwidth and increased speed. The second one is ultra-reliable low-latency communication, which can be used in manufacturing processes, in the industry, in Industry 4.0. And the last one is massive machine-type communication, which can be very efficient IoT deployments and can help in that regard.
Earlier this year, state-owned Egyptian Telecom was the first to acquire 5G licensing in a deal worth $150 million. That means in total, Egypt earned some $825 million in 5G licenses. In addition, tens of millions of dollars in infrastructure investments is expected to follow as providers expand their coverage across the country.
Migrating to 5G should come at no extra cost for consumers in Egypt. The 5G technology is much more efficient in energy, which makes the cost of operation lower than that of the 4G and 3G technologies. This is great news for the telecom industry here, which contributes about 5% of the nation's GDP. Adel Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.
And in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, there's a bustling informal trade that sees scrap turned into cash. Recyclers roam the Mercato market calling out Korale as they gather scrap materials. Well, this term's come to symbolize their mission of salvaging used items from jerry cans to electronics. For a kilogram of metal, collectors earn about 30 cents, that's US cents, while jerry cans can fetch between 3 and 25 birr. In Minalesh Terra, the centre of recycling activity, these collectors sell their finds to middlemen who dismantle old electronics to prevent environmental pollution. With Addis Ababa producing around 400,000 tonnes of waste annually, their efforts are essential, as only 70% is officially managed. These recyclers not only earn a living, but also contribute to environmental sustainability. Some even transform scrap metal into products like stoves for export, demonstrating how recycling can create economic opportunities while addressing waste management challenges in the city. And finally, while it's not rare for a giant panda mother to produce twin cubs, it is quite rare for both to survive. The reason for this is that they don't have sufficient milk or energy to care for two, so they focus attentions on the strongest cub. And that's why there is so much excitement at a zoo in Berlin, Germany. The twin sisters were born in late August, and this week, for the first time, the public got to see them. CGTN's Peter Oliver has that story.
Just under 2 months old, but already star attractions, drawing a crowd. The first of the newborn panda twins have been meeting the public in Berlin for the first time. The bears are set to be a big additional draw to the zoo, which already brings in almost 3.5 million visitors per year.
I'm really grateful because what you see here is the product of a lot of work, of structure, of empathy, of hard work, of course, and knowledge and professionalism.
The two new baby girls are the second set of twins for Mam Meng Meng and Dad Jiao Qing. The last cubs, two boys named Pitt and Pauli by locals, departed for China last year.
The birth of this second set of twins isn't just a victory for the zoo here in Berlin, it's also a victory for the cooperation between the zoo here and Chengdu Panda Base in China.
Ohne die Chengdu Panda Base wäre es uns niemals gelungen.
Without the Chengdu Panda Base, we would never have been able to breed the giant pandas here. Two colleagues from Chengdu are now here and helping us to raise the two young animals. And without these two experts and their knowledge, it would actually not be possible to do this.
Until now, the cubs have been cared for behind closed doors. In the wild, a panda would only be able to care for one cub, so here, additional help is provided by the veterinary team.
Well, it's very necessary for the pandas that you have to stimulate the digestion. So in the beginning, it's not, they don't poo and they don't pee by themselves, so they need the help of the mother or the help of the keeper. So it's the mother does it with licking the stomach region or the abdomen region.
The next step for the twin bear cubs will be a decision on their names. It's expected this will come in December to coincide with 100 days since their birth. Peter Oliver, CGTN, Berlin.
And that's a wrap of your BRICS Plus news for the week. We'll be back again with more next week. In the meantime, if you want to stay up to date, check out our social media and website, and subscribe if you want to be first in line to receive the latest news.